Today's podcast is all about fitness, or mostly. So with me today is my dear friend, Gaby. So we go back since our days in college.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, give me your fitness credentials. When
Okay.
did you start? How did you start?
Well, I think fitness was always part of my life. You know, when I look back, growing up, I was always very active, but my activity was dancing. My parents put me in dance classes since I was 3 years old, and I continued studying dance, different type of dance and genres, and recitals and ensembles until college. So that was my way of moving, of staying active, and it never felt like exercise. I just loved it so much. But when I graduated college, there was, like, here in the valley, almost no place for adults to take dance lessons. Everything was for kids. And I just didn't know how to continue being active. I picked up, well, when I was in high school, I was in track. So I said, okay, I can run. And I started running again just for fun. But then I discovered Zumba. And Zumba was perfect for me. I'm talking about, this was back in 2005 or something, like so long ago. And it had just started in the valley. And I tried it out, and I thought it was a great combination of dancing and exercise. And I really miss dancing so much. I miss being in an environment where I could dance with other people my age. And so I got really into it. I would hardly miss any classes. And then when I heard there was going to be a certification, I was like, I can teach. I can, I'm already doing this for fun. So went to the certification, and I just started teaching as a hobby, because I was working somewhere else.
How did you get the certification? Like, where did you even go first?
Well, now you can get it, like, they have certifications here almost every weekend, almost everywhere. Like, it's so popular now that it's very accessible. But back then I had to go to Austin. And I hear the instructors before me had to go to Miami. So, yes, it was not that wide yet. So I took the certification. I started teaching for fun. But that was just the beginning of me falling in love with fitness, because I always called being active dancing. But then through Zumba, because you do incorporate a lot of fitness movements like squats and lunges, even though I was in track in high school, it was just different. And then, I started exploring weight training. And then I fell in love with weight training too. At the beginning, it was kind of boring for me, because I was like, where's the dancing? Where's the music? But then I saw the changes. Training your muscles really does shape your body more. And then I just started considering fitness as a second career, like as a hobby, because I was still working for other companies. And so I started getting certified. And fast forward to 2015, I said, well, let me try fitness as a full-time thing. And here we are, still doing it.
And you also have your certification in nutrition, right?
Yes. So
when did you do that, and where did you get that?
Online.
Okay.
Well, so now we live in a time where it's, easier to get studies and certifications, because it's all accessible through your computer, which is great. Because you still, for my certifications, I still had to pass some exams, and they're monitored, and you also have to turn in certain, like, surveys and just paperwork. But after I got certified for personal training and group exercise and boot camps and stuff like that, all the clients also want to ask you, what should I eat? And you want to be able to give them good information, because it really goes hand in hand. It doesn't matter how hard someone trains. If they don't eat right, they're not going to see the results. And so I was like, I need to know this. And also for me, I also want to understand the science of nutrition. And so I started getting certifications. First, I got a basic in sports certification through WEFNA. And then the latest one is a holistic nutritionist through AFPA.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I would kind of want to start off with talking about motivation. So in my opinion, and correct me if I'm wrong, to me it seems like there's two different kinds of motivations that you need. You need the Kickstarter and then the maintenance. So there has to be an event that hits you where you're like, I I gotta start working out. It's just too long. It's been too long. Your pants don't fit anymore. Someone says a comment you might overhear, like, "Hey, that guy's gaining weight," or something. Something has to trigger you when your pants don't fit, or something, or you see a picture of yourself and you think, "Damn it, I waited too long." And then the other thing, aside from getting kicked into the motivation, because that always happens like January 1st. Everybody says, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna start."
Yes.
So that's a kickstart. The other kind of motivation is to maintain. You keep going, you keep eating right. And for me, I could just my method to keep going, I'll wake up in the morning, I'll look at myself in the mirror, and I'll just say, you did this to yourself. Look at yourself. Look at what you did. Look what you did. You were born fat. You became fat. And like that's my motivation. Like, oh God, what did I do to myself? And that's what keeps me going. That self-loathing.
You like to see something in the mirror that you feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you have advice? Because I would think when you start to see results, it's easier to keep going. It really helped me out. I'm chunky now, but
No.
When I started to get my like your body fat percentage, measured and stuff, and when you could see, okay, go in every 2 weeks, because you'll see a result there faster. I think, what did they say? Like it's something to the effect of, you'll notice a difference in 2 weeks, but other people will notice a difference after a month. That like if you can keep up eating healthy, you're gonna get the compliments in a month.
I know what you mean. Yes.
Yeah, something like that.
Yes. You gotta be very patient, and that's why all my training packages are a minimum of 3 months, because that's really what's gonna take, not only for other people to notice it, but also for you to start picking it up as a habit. And the motivation is very personal. That's why fitness is like very individualistic, because each person has a different something that ticks them differently, a different goal. As my shirt says, training is my therapy. And my logo's, by the way, over here, showing it off. But because really, for me, in order to sustain it, it's easy because it really is my therapy. I've noticed that when I'm training, it's when I'm less thinking about negative stuff or problems or things that I have in my to-do list. Because if the work that I have to do is so demanding, it requires all my energy, not just physical, but mental. And so I have to focus on the task that I'm doing, whether it's doing a certain squat or lifting a certain number of weights. And so I have to put everything else, the never-ending, thoughts, to the side. And so by the end of the session, I'm more calm because I was able to stop the tape recorder, from just going and going. There's people that their motivation is because they got to a point where they're 50, 60, and they realize they cannot keep up with their grandkids, and they want to be there for them. Or some people do it for, revenge. I got divorced. My husband left me for someone else. I want to show him what he lost. Hey, that's okay.
Whatever works.
Whatever moves you, because in the end, these people will forget about that ex. They feel so happy and confident with themselves that now it's like, oh, it's not even about him anymore. I really, I feel better with myself. So I don't even care if he likes it or not. And so that's really the beauty of fitness. You start maybe with a superficial goal sometimes, but then it ends up being so much profound because when you make it part of you, you see the changes in your life mentally, and you're a better person with your environment because you're happier. You feel more energetic. It's something that really encompasses so much more than just the physicality, which is a big bonus. I mean, everybody likes to look good, of course, but I think if it was just for that, then you wouldn't be able to sustain it. There has to be something more profound at the end of the day while you're doing it, and that's why you keep doing it. For me, it's because it really keeps me sane. This 2020 has been
horrific.
Yes. I mean, nobody can say that they haven't had a bad day, maybe, because, you could have the perfect life, but hey, coronavirus is a threat for everyone. And maybe you haven't gotten it, no one in your family, that's great, but it has affected maybe the way, you used to work or hang out with your friends because of isolation and quarantine. And that could be nice at the beginning, but after a while it becomes routine and you're like, when is this going to be over? And then on top of that, some people did have other stuff besides just being careful with the virus. They lost a job, they got divorced. Divorce rates went up according to studies. And I guess it's because once people have to see each other all day, they're like, I don't think I like you so much anymore. Yes. And so I tell people, you have to keep doing something, even if it's at home or maybe a walk in the park where there's nobody around, so you're not going to get the virus. But it really keeps me sane. And I think that's why I've been having a very good attitude with everything that's been happening this year. Regardless, all the changes I had to do to my lifestyle because of the virus, I haven't stopped training or moving, walking, working out, and that really helps.
Well, what kind of advice would you give to someone that is trying to exercise? Because like for me, for example, I was on a good streak for a good couple of months. I was having 0 to no sugar. I think the only sugar that I had daily was the one banana that was in my protein shake. I cut off cutting alcohol, as much as I hate to say it, if you cut out alcohol, I noticed it in my cheeks and in my face. Like it was a huge difference. And I mean, it sucks because I mean, whiskey tastes so good and being alive fucking sucks. But when I cut out alcohol and I cut out sugar, I noticed a big difference in 2 weeks, and I kept it up for about 2 months, and then COVID happened and I didn't want to start going to the gym. And when COVID hit, I would stay home, get away from the gym because I didn't want to get the virus, and to relax I would have 2, maybe 4 beers every afternoon, and for a while it was nice. I didn't have to work. The unemployment checks were coming in, and it's like, okay, well, I
kind of like this coronavirus.
It's not bad. But then I noticed I started drinking out of boredom. I just couldn't just sit home and not work
nothing
for months, and it was just out of boredom. But it became a routine.
Yes.
Every day from around 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, just sit in the backyard, have a couple of beers. And when I would do the math, I was drinking a lot of beers per week, per month. I think technically it met the legal definition of being an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Like if you drink like 3 of them a day.
I think so.
I hit three every day.
I think you could be.
So it took me a while because I wanted to go back to the gym, but I didn't want to get sick. And so exercising outside was really the only place that I could go. And here in the Valley, it's super hot, like a ton of mosquitoes. It took a lot just to, drench yourself in off spray and go for a run. And I fucking hate running.
Yeah.
But,
well, running, I think, is one of those things that you just get used to it. I think most people don't like it at the beginning, but no, it's because I remember when I used to, back in high school, I just, I saw all the sports that they were giving us the option for. Because I went to my school did have sports, but it was a Catholic school. So it was, first, it's more important the catechism classes and this and that. And, the boys always were very involved in sports, but I don't know. I don't remember. Maybe now times have changed, but the girls didn't have many sports options. But I remember they had track, and I was like, okay, I'll do that. And at the beginning, it was just very difficult, but then I got used to it. The more you do anything, the more you're going to get used to it. And now I really enjoy it. If I don't do it as much, it's because I have a messed up back. But getting back to what you were saying about alcohol, I do believe that also quarantine just made people drink more. Did you notice that a lot of businesses were closed? Well, the first wave of the coronavirus, because now more businesses are open because everybody's more relaxed. But at the beginning, when everything was closed and all the restaurants, the liquor stores were packed because I would drive by. Not that I was there to buy. No, I do drink moderately. But no, I would pass by and I would see big lines. The parking lot was full. People just coming in and out like it was Christmas, And I was like, I guess, people are anxious and they don't know how to deal with it. Honestly, I don't have anything against moderate alcohol consumption. The less you drink, the better. I mean, if you don't drink at all, then that's great. But I mean, if you do drink here and there, it's not as much as it's not a big deal if you don't do it all the time. But the thing is, some people don't know when to stop. It's the same as with junk food. For me, junk food is really a weakness. So I just don't buy it because I can't have it home and I want to eat it all at once. Some people can have drawers full of snacks like chips and cookies, and they just, they have one cookie a day and they're fine. I can't do that. So you have to really know yourself and be like, if that's a real weakness for me, I'm just going to stay away from it. And so,
well, getting back to the booze, you're the perfect person to talk to. So when it comes to trying to get fit and drinking, is it true that, and I can't remember which one it is it okay to drink tequila or vodka? One of them has sugar, one of them doesn't. It's vodka?
The liquors, like pure, are also always going to be better because they're lower in carbs. I believe vodka is the lowest one. But that doesn't mean that they don't have any calories, and also it doesn't mean that they don't have an effect on how you store fat in your body. So actually, when you're prepping for a competition, like a bodybuilding competition, you can't drink any alcohol at least 2 weeks before, even if it fits in your calorie and macro quotas, because that's how long it's going to take for your body to release the stored fat that it causes in your body when you consume it. Like, you look more bloated. And so that's why I say no alcohol is the best option. But if you're gonna drink alcohol, yes, pure liquor is the best option. They're lower in calories and carbs.
But is it better for vodka or tequila?
I believe it's vodka.
I think it's vodka.
Yes. I don't drink much vodka, so honestly, I'm not that sure. But I have read it, and yes, if I remember right, I believe it's vodka. But tequila is not that much higher either. Like, if it's between tequila and like pure or in a margarita, it's better than tequila. You're still doing a better option. I think between tequila and vodka, it's vodka.
I would imagine that you probably get more questions about nutrition and supplements than you do about workouts. Am I correct? Is that more complicated than exercising?
I think so, because there's so many diets, so much information out there. Actually, for supplements, I'm not really the person to go to because I don't use a lot of supplements. I don't really think they're that much needed as they make it seem.
What do you take? Do you take anything?
Nothing.
Nothing?
For pre-workout, coffee or green tea. The more natural, the better. A lot of the pre-workouts, when you read the ingredients, what does it have? Caffeine.
Shit, yeah.
Caffeine, artificial flavors or colors, and sometimes, and I guess that. Maybe some other kind of herbs, but the core of it is caffeine. So, okay, if you're going to have caffeine, you can get it from black coffee or from green tea. And it's a natural source. Doesn't have to have any artificial colors or anything else going on. Doesn't have to come from a process, from a factory. Okay, protein supplements I do use but you don't really need them unless you are, heavy training. Most people eat actually more protein than they have to because that's just our standard American diet. We eat so much meat, more than we need to. And so the protein levels are already through the roof. And a lot of these people, they don't even need it that much because it's not like they're heavy weight training. When you train your muscles heavily, you do need a certain amount of protein because that's what helps the fibers repair. And the muscle needs it to recover. But if you're sedentary and you're having some kind of meat for breakfast, lunch, dinner, you're good. You don't need protein supplements. Now, when you are dieting to lose weight and you're also training, a protein shake is fine because you're probably in a calorie deficit in order to lose weight. And so maybe, your protein levels are coming down, but you still want to maintain it without all the saturated fats from meat. So you use a good quality protein powder that's organic, that doesn't have any sugar. I prefer the plant-based ones. And it's also something that is easy to make. So if you want to have it instead of like a regular sit-down breakfast, if you're a person that's on the go busy, a protein shake is fine. But other than that, I don't really use any other supplements.
Oh my God. I have so many. Am I wasting all this money to, how many? Okay, I'm taking a vitamin C supplement, vitamin A supplement. I'm taking vitamin D supplement. I'm taking CLA. I'm taking vitamin B.
Well, the thing is
Is it all bullshit?
well, how's your diet? If your diet is so bad that you need the supplements to make up for it, of course. But I think it'll be cheaper to just change your diet.
Yeah, I'm spending a shit ton on all these pills.
Just buy a lot of produce. Most of the produce has all the vitamins that you need and antioxidants. I forgot to tell you, I do take vitamin B12 supplements because as a vegan, that's like the only vitamin that you wouldn't be able to get from plants. And it's not that because animals produce it. Animals get it from the ground when they eat. It's a microorganism in the ground. And then when you eat that animal, you absorb it from them. But vegans, we don't eat the animal that ate it, and we're also not going to get it from the ground because now we live in a time where you have to disinfect everything. So then now you have to get it from a supplement. But all those other vitamins that you mentioned, if you have a whole plant-based diet, or it doesn't have to be completely plant-based, but let's say you eat a lot of produce, you're going to get a lot of those vitamins in the form of food. And
oh my God.
Yes. So...
Well, that's a great way to save money from now on. Oh, shit. I've spent so much on fucking supplements.
Yeah, no, just fill your kitchen with color. You know, if your kitchen starts looking very brown, it's because you're mostly just eating a lot of meat. So you need to put some red there, some green, some purple, orange. And so that's how you know that you're eating enough plants to have a healthy body.
Well, you being a vegan, you would also be the perfect person to ask. So before I had this badass juicer, my sister and we spent, I can't remember, I want to say it was like $400 on the top of the line juicer. But is it better to juice your meals? So did you ever see that movie Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead? I know everyone was talking about it on Netflix. I haven't seen
it, but I've heard of it.
Okay, so this one guy, if you see the documentary on Netflix, this one guy, I mean, he's super overweight, he's on the verge of having a heart attack, and he becomes a vegan, and he's just drinking these,
green juice.
Yeah, green juice. I think he has like 5 drinks a day. He lost a ton of weight, now he's super healthy and all that stuff. So my sister and I were doing it. And we weren't doing that 5 times a day, but we would have 2 of those drinks every day. Just a big glass of all these. It was just like spinach and carrot juice and I can't remember, cucumbers, ginger, all that stuff was in there. It was kind of expensive. Not just the juicer was expensive, but having to buy all that produce, and it doesn't last that long. You have to go every 3 days to replenish, right? Is that healthier than just blending it? Because an uncle of mine who's pretty much he's really into fitness also. I mean, he's not certified or anything, he's just a fan, right? He was telling me that juicing isn't actually all that great because you're losing out on all the fiber.
Exactly.
It's like, just put it in a blender, it in a blender and do that.
Exactly. Look, I don't juice, and not because I have anything against it. It's because I actually enjoy chewing my vegetables and my fruits. I find it more satisfying, and I've never really, thankfully, had any health issue that tells me that I have to juice. I know for some people it has worked, but I'm of the opinion that the more whole the plant, the better. So just think about how many oranges you need to make a cup of orange juice. I don't know. Like I said, I don't juice, but what, 10? Or 5? Well, more than 1 for sure.
Right.
But if you just have an orange, it's like you're saving a lot of calories from 1 orange to 10 oranges to make that juice. And at the same time, you're more satisfied because you're keeping all the fiber, and it's taking longer for you to digest it, that you don't feel like, like with the oranges, you can just chug it in 1 drink and then it's gone, and you don't feel that much satisfied.
Well, yeah, that's the.
But sorry.
No, you go.
If you feel like you're not the kind of person that it's gonna sit down and eat spinach or peel and I don't know. I'm sorry. Eat an apple. if you feel like it's easier for you to just drink it, then yes, go ahead and blend it, because at least you're having it in some kind of form. And maybe you don't have the time to be cutting the vegetables, and for you that's faster. But yes, the more of the fiber you can keep, the better for your health. And so if by juicing it you lose it, then it's not that much worth it.
Yeah. Well, what I was gonna say is when you're juicing stuff, you also have to watch out, because like one of the things that I would love to do when we had the juicer is juicing just pure watermelon, just a whole watermelon. You don't juice the rind, the outside, that thick skin. If you cut all that stuff out, you just juice the red part and get rid of all the seeds and all the pulp. That tastes amazing. It's such a good drink. But when you have a big glass of the watermelon juice, I mean, the amount of sugar that's in there, it's a lot.
Well, that's the thing. That's why you want to keep the fiber in the fruit, because the fructose, the natural sugar in the fruit, is not bad when you're eating it whole, because the fiber helps make up for the effects of the sugar. It doesn't let it spike in your blood as fast as if you just were eating something
like a candy
processed
bar.
Sugar. Yes. Yeah. So that's why when people are afraid of fruit because it has sugar, they're forgetting that the fruit also comes packed with all this fiber, antioxidants, vitamins. They don't just make you healthier, but also the fiber is not gonna let the sugar spike. So you're fine. Watermelon actually is great for hydration because of a lot of water that it has. And I believe it's also one of the fruits that has lycopene, which is one of the antioxidants that helps fight cancer. So it's all a matter, again, of what are your choices. Okay, am I gonna drink I don't know if I can say brands here, but a powdered...
I don't have any sponsors.
Okay, am I gonna drink watermelon Kool-Aid or the juice from the watermelon? The juice from the watermelon is obviously better.
Yeah.
But I mean, can I keep all the fiber in the watermelon instead of just extracting it? Yes. So it's just a matter of what are the choices in front of you and making the best one.
One of the things that made a big impact on me, and it was a few years back when I really wanted to start losing weight, was the thing that I learned was how inefficient the body is with breaking down sugar. I mean, just white granulated kind of sugar.
White flours.
Right. So if I remember correctly, and if this is right, I believe it was men can break down 35 grams of sugar. Women are closer to 30. And it's that amount difference is nothing. If you consume more than that in 24 hours, your body's not going to break it down, no matter what you do.
I don't know it in those terms that you say, but I do know that the less added sugar, the better, simply, or the less processed sugar. And like you said, when we say that, we're talking about white flours and added sugars. There's so many. I mean, when you read a label, you get so confused because they make certain sugars sound healthy, like organic cane sugar. Oh, it's organic and it's cane sugar. It's a plant. No, it's still added sugar. It means they had to add it to the package. It was not there from the beginning. So once you add something, it's already kind of a process. It's a processed food. But I do know, so the less the better. But ideally, we shouldn't eat more than 25 grams per day of added sugar. And most of the people already get to this at breakfast.
Yeah.
And they haven't even had lunch or snacks.
There's sugar in milk. There's sugar in ketchup. There's sugar
in cereal. Most cereals. And that's why you have to look at the reverse of the package, because, the food industry has to be smart, right? They have to sell their products. So in the front, they're going to tell you everything that's shiny. Oh, high fiber, I don't know, organic or whatever. But then you read the label on the back and you realize that they added all the sugar to it. And also you have to look at the serving size, because that's how they measure it.
Yeah.
So let's say the serving size is half a cup, 10 grams of sugar. But are you really just going to have half a cup for breakfast? You're going to have a bowl.
Yeah.
So now you have to multiply that by 2. So it's no longer just 10 grams of sugar. It's 20 grams of sugar. And that's just breakfast. Then what's going to happen with snacks and lunch and dinner? So it is very common for usually old people to consume more than 50 grams of added sugars a day. That's why we have the diabetes crisis, obesity. that's why people also feel so tired, because these sugars, they just spike and then they make you crash.
Yeah.
It's not sustainable energy.
Yeah, I totally agree. The two big things for me that the sugar thing was a big one. Once, because the rest of the stuff is actually kind of confusing. Like, how many calories am I eating with this piece of chicken? Is it this many calories? Is it that many calories? Is it the potato? How much? It's kind of a big potato, so is it more? But if you just focus in on the sugar and you realize you cannot break down more, I would tell myself like 30. Just keep it at the lowest number, right? 30, and 30 is nothing. If you have a particular, like for me, I love drinking Dr. Pepper, and Dr. Pepper, that one can of Dr. Pepper.
Oof.
If you drink it, you're done for the day. No
Yes.
matter what, you could just have salads for the rest of the day. It doesn't matter, because you've already consumed too much sugar.
Yes.
No matter what you do, that little bit of sugar is going to turn into fat. No matter what you do, how much you exercise, if you eat nothing.
It's because it's going to become stored fat.
Right.
And then, you're not going to use it, then it's just going to accumulate in your body.
Yeah. So that was a big thing. It's funny. So around January, when everybody goes on the whole, I'm going to lose weight and blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
Well, my cousin and I, Jerry, my boss that works here, right? Every January we do the same thing, but we do it every year. We're actually fairly good at exercising and eating right. And so we would get into fat burning competitions. We don't go by weight. We go on body fat percentage. And we, every year, and we stopped because they caught on to us, where all these guys that we work with, they all put in like, oh, I'm going to put in $50, $100 and whatever. But they all crap out because my cousin and I are very competitive. So it's really, is he going to win or am I going to win? And last year I had a real hard time. Every year we would do this competition, and every year starting January, because we like the Halloween candies. There's a Thanksgiving in November, and then Christmas.
Yes.
And
for Hispanics, it lasts all the way to February, because then you have Reyes Magos in January, and then los tamales de con la Candelaria. I should know this, but it's not like I follow all the traditions, so I don't remember, but something like that. La Candelaria, algo así. So basically, you're still eating, you have like this quote unquote right to eat all these foods until February.
So, my cousin and I, we do this every year. And we give ourselves the Halloween, the Thanksgiving, and the Christmas, and even January 1st, we're all right. So mid-January is when we start, hey, you want to get into this fat burning competition? And we get everybody to come in, but it's either he's going to win or I'm going to win. And last year I had a real hard time.
Why?
So every year when we do this, I know the routine. I already know, like, okay, you got to cut your sugars, you got to cut your alcohol, and switch, don't eat the fast foods and whatever. Last year it didn't work for me. So we gave ourselves a month. How much can you lose in 1 month? Because nobody wanted to go longer than a month. Okay, so you weigh yourself on this date, 30 days later, you weigh yourself again. And I would weigh myself, I would get checked every Friday. And before, I would see results. Just exercise, eat right, avoid the sugars. I'm going to lose weight, lose a little bit of weight. And at the end of the month, either my cousin's going to win or I'm going to win. Last year, I was seeing no change. No change on the first week. I was like, all right, well, let me try a little harder. I'm going to work out a little bit harder. Did it again. No change. And the third week, I was like, all right, I'm going to try even more. I'm going to drink more water and whatever. And third week, no change. So the last week, I was desperate, and I was going to try intermittent fasting, right? So that last week, and fuck, I should have brought my papers. I could prove what I did. In 1 week, I dropped 10 pounds of fat. Right. So what I did was I would only eat one full meal at the end of the day. I would have a protein shake when I got home from work. So it was around 6:30. I would have dinner around 8 o'clock. And after you eat your dinner, it's just water throughout the rest of the day. I just, no breakfast, just drink water. At lunchtime, I would go home with the dogs. I would let them out, play with them for a little bit, go back to work, and just drink water. Because I tried the other things, which was, you eat 6 or 8 meals every couple of hours, but I couldn't keep it up because we're always going out on gigs and work, or we have meetings, and it's like I should be eating my prepared chicken sandwich or whatever. And
Yes.
I was trying all those things, and those things didn't work. But when I tried the intermittent fasting, I had the biggest results by far. It just took the hardest thing. If you can get past the third day, I'll admit that on the third day, I felt like fainting. Like around dinner time, I was cooking by myself at the apartment, and I felt dizzy, and I was thinking, fuck, if I faint, there's nobody here to help me. But I made it through. And after the third day, the other days felt fine. You don't get hungry anymore because you train your body. After the third day, your body is fine with it. And everyone's asking, like, aren't you hungry? You haven't eaten in 24 hours? And it's not that bad.
It got used to using your stored fat as fuel, so it was not demanding. At the beginning, your body didn't know what to do with the change, and they were expecting the food coming in. By the third day, now they got it. You got it, and it was like, okay, we have this stored fat for energy. It's okay, we're not gonna die.
Yeah, this guy's so fat. There's so much here. Yeah.
But you know what? I think it worked for you because it went with your lifestyle. Because yes, you didn't have to prepare meals, and you didn't have to be like eating around the clock or counting calories. You just knew, okay, this is my window to eat. 8 hours? What was your window to eat?
Yeah, I was doing, I think they call it the OMAD, like it's one meal a day.
Okay.
So it was just a protein shake, and I was measuring my calories intake too. It's like, okay, well, I put, it was a cup of protein. I would measure out the unsweetened almond milk, a banana, and so I would measure out all the calories, and I was like, okay, well, my BMI is 1700, so I got to hit 1500 every day. So with my protein shake and my meal of grilled chicken, sweet potato, and broccoli. I fucking hate broccoli, but I want to fucking win. Yeah, so that's what it takes. You just got to, even if you hate it, you gotta eat the brown rice. You gotta eat the broccoli. I've tried broccoli every way.
I think you just hate it at the because
there's
you're
no
not
way
used
that
to
broccoli
it.
tastes good.
I love it, but I think
God.
you get used to it. I think okay. What kind of do you drink? Regular cow's milk or like almond milk or?
I would prefer whole milk, but I could make the switch. And the thing is, if you make the switch, it's hard to go back.
Well, I'm asking you because this is a very common transition for most people. Most people used to drink cow milk, and then most people now it's some kind of plant-based milk. Almond is the most common. In the beginning, I'm sure it was gross, but then you like it, and then you think the milk you were drinking before, the dairy one, now you think that's gross. You know, it's like you just get used to it. Your taste, but I mean, did you really like wine when you were, younger? I mean. Yeah. Okay, because you say you say you love alcohol, right?
Yeah.
But I'm sure the first time you had a drink, I don't know, what were you, 21? Of course, you have to be no less than that.
Of course.
It tasted funky. Like, what is this? Why people drink this? It doesn't taste good. But your taste buds adjust, and then when you realize how much better you feel, you just keep eating those foods because they make you feel good. But going back to intermittent fasting, at the end of the day, what I observed in myself and my clients, if you want to lose weight, you just have to be at a calorie deficit. And you can get that in different ways, either by working out or just dieting or combining those, or you just exclude a certain type of foods. That's why, for example, for a lot of people, keto diet, they say, oh, this really made me lose weight. But it's because you're excluding a whole group of foods, which are the carbs. And of course, at the beginning, well, you're excluding a lot of calories, and so you're losing weight. But then, I don't know if you noticed that some people stop losing the weight because now they figure how to have keto brownies, keto tortillas, keto bread. It is keto. It doesn't have any carbs, any sugar, but maybe you're not at a calorie deficit anymore. So your body has to be at a calorie deficit in order to reach for your body fat storage as energy. And so intermittent fasting works because since you have a smaller window for eating, now you're not eating as many calories. And this works for people, for example, that are so busy that they don't even have breakfast anyway. But some people, they're like, well, I don't have breakfast either, but I'm still not losing weight because what you're eating at lunch is very high in calories. So you're still not at a calorie deficit. Yeah. That's all it is. But whatever works for you, go for it. That's, I tell people, okay, if keto works for you, that's great. For me, I think keto is not sustainable I mean, to not eat carbs ever in your life, for how much long can you do that? And also, you're missing all the fiber, vitamins, and antioxidants that are in the fruits, in the vegetables, in the whole grains, in the legumes, and I mean, we need that for health. But to each his own.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say it's hard to go back because for a while, I mean, because how long have you been a vegan for?
3.5 years.
Okay. I tried, not that I went whole vegan, but what I was trying to do is, okay, I'll do like a meatless Monday and a meatless Friday or something. And actually you don't really miss it, especially if you're already doing the intermittent fasting. You just have that one meal at the end of the day. And when your hunger builds, everything tastes better. Even broccoli, it tastes slightly better. And so what I noticed, what I would do is I would make a big vegan burrito.
Yes.
So I would have a spinach tortilla with
beans or
I would have beans,
pico de gallo, avocado.
Can you do cheese or you don't do cheese?
I don't.
Okay, I would do cheese. Just a little bit of cheese, not a lot of cheese, but beans, cheese, grilled vegetables, like you have avocado in there, and you put some salsa in there, and it tastes really good.
Exactly.
And you don't really miss the meat because there's all those other flavors in there, so you don't miss it. And it's so big, you get filled up. But I was on the I trained myself to get on to the spinach tortillas, and after a while I couldn't taste the difference anymore.
Yeah.
And then I got off of it, and then I tried to go back. No, it doesn't taste the same. Like, you have to retrain your taste buds.
Yeah, I guess.
I got off the wagon, and then when I got back on, I was like, no, it doesn't taste the same.
People have asked me, like, but how do you do it? Don't you miss meat? And I actually don't at all. Like, I don't even crave it. I remember at the beginning, people around me would try to tempt me, like, they would get a hamburger and be like, oh, it's so good. Oh, look at this. And I would be like, you're really not causing any effect on me. Like, I don't care about your burger. But I guess if I had a bite, maybe I'll like it again. Maybe I will find it gross. I don't know. The only thing I know is that it doesn't even attract my attention. And for me, I do it not just for health, but it's really because of ethics. It's because of the treatment of the animals in the factory. So that for me is enough motivation to not even want to go back, because I don't care how good it tastes. I just don't agree with the way it's made, and I still enjoy the way I eat. I don't feel like, oh, I'm making a sacrifice. I love the way I eat now. So, but I also did it gradually, and for example, not my clients, I have very little clients interested in a plant-based diet, and I don't push my agenda on anyone. I respect that, and but I do give them meal plans that have a higher consumption of whole plants. You know, maybe they're still eating their animal products, but they're still also eating more. They don't realize it, but in some of the menus I give them, they're just eating animal products once a day instead of all day, and even for snacks. Because for breakfast, they're having an oatmeal, for lunch, a quinoa salad. And so they're like, snacks is fruits or veggies, so they don't realize that they're not eating as many animal products. And honestly, for health effects, for the environment, and for animal ethics, you don't even have to go completely vegan, as long as you just reduce the animal consumption. We don't need meat all day every day. It's not necessary. So if we all just reduced it, all the changes to your health, to the environment, and to the animal ethics would be huge.
Yeah, what I would hear when I would give, or I would be asked about workout advice from women specifically, the two things that would mainly come up is, well, I don't want to lift heavy weights because I don't want to become super huge. And I would always tell them, like, do you know how difficult that is? It is not easy. that would be the first thing. The second thing is that they're afraid of losing too much fat in their chest, and they don't want to lose that.
That does happen.
I can't help you with that.
That does happen. Yeah, the first one, they're getting too big, it's just not gonna happen.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
Hormonally, we're not built that way. We don't have enough testosterone. The second one, it does happen because breasts are mainly just fat. That's why for men, I mean, unless they have a lot of fat or they enter a certain age and they don't weight train, there's a term for it.
Man boobs?
Yes. But I wanted to say the more professional term, but I don't remember it. But it's because...
There's also bitch tits.
I've never said it like that. But it's basically because they're losing muscle mass by not training. They're accumulating a lot of fat, and their hormone. Also, the testosterone drops at a certain age for men, and that's why they see those changes.
Yeah, like in your 30s.
Yeah,
for
but
guys.
women, we have a lot of female hormones like estrogen, so we accumulate more fat naturally than men. That's why for us it's harder to burn fat than men. And so breast is just fat tissue. There's muscle underneath, but on top is just fat tissue. I know that because that's why when you see women in bodybuilding competitions that require for you to be at 10% body fat or less, if that woman has, a good size of breast, they're probably not natural, which is fine. There's nothing against that. But I'm just saying, when you have to lose that much fat, you're not gonna just lose it from one spot of your body. You're gonna lose it from all the spots of your body. But what I tell people, it's not like most people that are gonna get into fitness, they're not prepping for a bodybuilding competition or a bikini fitness competition. They're just gonna lose fat enough to be healthy. They're still gonna have some breast. They may not be as big, but at the same time, you just have to look at your body not as a body part, but as a whole. So what, in my opinion, is what good for you is to have huge breasts if your cholesterol is super high, or you have diabetes, or your genes you can't fit into your genes, and you want to fit into your genes, but no, I'm going to lose my breast. Well, maybe you're going to lose a little bit of them, but it's going to also go with the rest of your body.
Yeah, you're going to be more curvy, and
it's just going to be more balanced.
Right.
Because you're going to lose fat from everywhere, not just from that area.
I would think that one of the things that would also go with it is don't pay too much attention to the weight. Pay more attention to the body fat percentage, because I know that my sister would also get a little bit discouraged, because when she would start to get into eating healthy and she would start the cardio, and sometimes she would actually gain a little bit of weight. And it could be like, well, you're gaining more muscle mass, and muscle mass weighs more than fat.
Yes.
So don't get so hung up on what's the number on the scale. Get more concerned about your body fat percentage.
Yeah, that's why trainers, when we want to check a client's progress, we don't just check on what's on the scale. It's part of it, but we also check measurements, pictures, because the way your body looks tells more than the number of the scale. You maybe see the same number on the scale, but your abdomen looks flatter, or your legs look toner. Your jeans are loose. So that means you are losing body fat, but you're keeping or even increasing your muscle mass, which is a good thing. Because I want to remind everybody, the more muscle mass you have, the higher metabolism, the more you're going to burn calories at rest. So it's not really just about losing the weight. It's part of it, but it's also about the measurements, how your clothes fit you, how do you look in pictures. That tells you a lot.
Mm-hmm. You have to do something just for you, that there's not going to be anybody to say, I don't like it, you should change this. You do a project exactly the way that you want to do it, because you don't have to please anybody but yourself. It's therapeutic to yourself and your own creativity. And
just for
right, you need to do something that I like it. I don't care if nobody else likes it. I like this project. I wanted to do it, and I feel better.
The thing that I've noticed in artists, because artists are not just in the sense of the typical outlets, which is painting and acting, and everyone who has a camera and can make magic with it, whether it's photography or video, because it requires editing and a certain angles of the light and whatever, that is art. And most people that are in this business of art, is not that the money aspect is the main force, right? You just want to do it because it's what your soul needs.
Yeah.
And what is kind of sometimes soul crushing is that you have to realize that, well, but at the end of the day, I still have to apply the business aspect to this if it's my only kind of income. So I guess there's this pull and push where you want to do things because it's, if you wouldn't know life without it, but then also you want people to value it financially. And I guess that's why artists
No,
sometimes struggle.
you're so right. We used to have this client up in the it was just north of San Antonio, like in the Bernie area.
Mm-hmm.
God, he was an asshole. But one of the things he said a lot of things that stuck with me. But one of the things, like when we would try to advise him, like, hey, well, we do advertising for a living, and he had a particular type of business, and it wasn't advertising because we were doing the advertisement for him. So we would advise him, like, it would be better if you did something like this.
Yes.
And he didn't agree. And we would try to push him, like, we're looking out for your best interests. When you make money, we make money. That's how this whole thing works. But he was extremely stubborn. And so he would just say, hey, let me ask you something. Who's paying for this project? Am I paying for this project, or are you paying for this project?
Yeah, but who are you hiring for advice?
Right. But he didn't care about that. He just said, I'm paying for it. I get what I want, right? Because I'm the client. I'm paying for this thing. And then you have to, then it's like, yeah, you are the client, and we're here to make you happy.
Yes.
And he's like, well, this is what I want. And so we would just, he was a dick.
Is this gonna be on YouTube?
It could be on YouTube. This is helpful advice.
You didn't say names, so they don't know who you're talking about.
They don't know. I could totally give.
In that case, let me talk about.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Let me mention this person.
This is real. Well, what I said in the.
We'll just call it this person.
Yeah, this person. I'll give his initials. This fucking asshole. Well, what I wanted to give in the original podcast, and it's funny. I would think. What do you prefer? Do you prefer? And I don't know if this is the best way to say it, but do you prefer an ugly truth or a beautiful lie?
An ugly truth.
Me too.
I think some of deceptions. Am I saying that right? Or am I translating it wrong? Deception.
Yeah.
Okay. That the biggest deceptions in life that I've gotten is when I just realize that something that I thought it was true is not.
Right.
And not that knowing it from the beginning would be easy, but I think it would be preferable.
Right. That's how I am. I want to know the truth. I don't want to.
Yeah,
I don't want the.
We all deserve. I mean, that is part of our.
You're better well
right
served.
To dignity, like.
Right.
You know exactly.
Like you're better off knowing what's real.
Yes.
And I know that. I don't know about you. I would guess that you're not like me in the sense that it sucks to admit it, but I know that I'm a pessimist at heart, or I prefer the term realist.
That's what most pessimists say.
Right.
I'm
yeah.
not. It's because I'm real.
Yeah.
It could be.
Well, when I hear people, you just gotta believe and you just gotta blah, blah, like it's like over the top. Just be good and good things happen. No, I like.
Yeah.
Not that I like to think that it. To me, from my perspective, I would rather know, like, look, if you want to get to this point, it's hard. You have to work harder, wake up earlier, go to sleep later. I gravitate toward that advice more than, you just got to believe in yourself. Well, that doesn't work for me.
Because it's all a matter of what is productive, because there is optimism and then there's also living in a bubble.
Well,
and what is more productive? I, for example, view optimism as you see the reality of how things are, and then you try to figure out how you can make the best out of the situation. But it's not about like, oh, no, this bad thing that is happening in front of me is not real. Everything is fine. No. You don't have to lie to yourself. Okay, things are messed up. So with this that I have in front of me, what's my best card to deal with, or what's my next best step?
Yeah.
And, as long as I keep on moving and keep the ball rolling, it'll eventually be okay. But there's going to be a process. So for me, that's optimism. You just try to see the best way out of a bad or good situation. But it doesn't mean like, I'm just going to pretend that everything is great and everything is fine. Pues tampoco, you know? Life happens. And that means good and bad things. And there's nothing bad with it. Imagine if everything was good all the time.
Yeah.
It would be boring. Like, honestly.
Oh my God.
Most growth I've gotten is from the bad experiences. And anyone who's gone through a bad experience, if they want to admit it, they'll tell you the same.
I want to do a podcast. I miss these kind of talks. Just having a drink and talking about fucking life, the good and the bad.
Yeah.
But talking about one of the things that really hit me, and this is going way off topic. It'll probably still stay in the podcast. I don't know, but fuck it.
We'll see.
The idea of chasing happiness. I remember seeing a podcast on YouTube. It was just about that. And it was only, a 10, 15 minute little video from Big Think on YouTube. And they said something and it stuck with me that how everybody is fucking chasing happiness. I want to be happy. Everyone
and they're not
wants
in the
to be
present.
happy. Right.
They
well,
think
the
that
thing
when
is,
this happens or when I get to have this, then I'll be happy.
Well, the thing that this guy, I think he was a professor, what he was saying is people think about happiness in the wrong way. That they're looking for something that they need to obtain so that they could be happy all the time. But when you really think about it, when you are happy, think of those moments. So remember when you were able to drive your car alone for the first time, when you were just getting started with learning how to drive a car, the first time that your parents let you take the car, just to go get groceries or just gas it up.
Yeah.
The idea that you can drive the car alone for the first time, the very first time that you kiss someone, or when your favorite team wins the big game, when in that moment of happiness,
Yes.
It's only a moment. You're not happy for the rest of the day. It's, I was going to say it's like an orgasm. It's only for a certain period of time and then it fades and then it's gone. You can't stay happy all day.
I think the break heart that people have with happiness is that they think it's a permanent state, emotional state, and that, okay, being happy means I'm never gonna experience bad things. But I think it's a choice, and I think when you experience a moment of sadness or difficulty, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're unhappy. You're just experiencing life.
Well, the thing that they were talking about on this video was it's an illusion to look for happiness and sustain it 24/7. It's never going to happen. And a lot of people are looking for that.
Okay, but hold on. I think we need to make the distinction because, for example, let's say I throw this at you. I can actually throw it at you. I'm so sorry. I actually did hit you for real.
Well, we have been drinking.
Well, you're not going to like it. Okay, well, maybe that it was funny.
There's nothing Gaby can do that I won't like.
You laughed about it, but let's say I actually threw you a brick. And you don't like it and it's going to get mad. But is that really ruining your entire life? Oh, this is making me so unhappy. No, this is bothering you. You don't like it. But at the end of the day, you're still happy because you have other things in life going on that makes you happy. So I think there's a difference from I don't feel right at this moment. I feel upset. I feel sad. Then to making the huge jump to I'm unhappy. That's one thing is just going through an emotion. The other thing is choosing to just be in this black cloud.
Well, the goal that he had mentioned in that video that I saw was what you really need to be looking for is being content. That's the goal, rather than being happy 24/7. Like, okay, well, do you have a decent job? You have a roof over your head. If you go into your fridge, is there food?
Yes.
Are you okay?
And I think, I think it's a choice, and I think it's our responsibility. I think the biggest mistake is when you want to give somebody else the job to make you happy or a thing.
Right.
Nobody or nothing is going to make you happy if you inside are in this black cloud. You could be alone, single. I was going to say alone in a desert. I don't want to say that because I've never been alone in a desert. And the person who's been alone in a desert is going to say, what do you know?
In theory,
it's miserable
you could
to be alone in a desert.
Use your imagination.
But, you could have not much, just enough to live comfortably. And
you don't need the mansion on the hill if you're okay. There's no huge worries.
I know people.
That's the goal you should be.
I know people that have big possessions and they're in a relationship and they're so unhappy because they look at everything that's wrong. And then I see people that live humbly and maybe they're not in a relationship, but they're happy because they're just looking at everything that is right and could be worse.
Oh, yeah.
It's really a choice.
It could always be worse.
It could always be worse.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, nobody is like this character in a movie where, you know, everything goes bad. For everyone, there's always something good going on. And there's always other people that wish to have
you don't know what they're going
through.
through.
You have. You know, when I went through cancer, I really consider my experience one of the fortunate ones.
How old were you when you got it?
24, going to 25.
And where did you discover it?
Oh, it's on top of my clavicle.
Okay.
It's lymphoma. But I always realized how lucky I was because I had family support, friend support. I had a job that allowed me to be absent when I felt like I had to, you know, take a sick day. I had insurance. I really feel like I had it good. But it's very interesting. One of my favorite moments actually of going through cancer was the chemo lounge area. Well, it's not lounge area, but it's where you get chemo. Mm-hmm. Getting intravenous medication for cancer can take anywhere from 30 minutes to 5 hours, depending how many medications you're getting and how many dosages. So you spend there so many hours that you really get to know the others sitting there with their IV, and you just start, you know, having conversations. And I realized in the conversation, some people saying, well, I don't know if I'm going to make it to my next chemo. And I was so naive. I would be like, oh, why? You don't have a ride? You want me to pick you up? No, I don't know if I'm going to have the money. We're trying to see, we're going to raise the funds with, selling some food plates. And I was like, oh, wow. Yeah, it hadn't occurred to me. I was so new to the cancer environment that it hadn't occurred to me. It's right. It's so expensive, and some people really don't have the means. And then you would see other people that did have the financial ways to pay it, but they would always be alone there, nobody with them. So I always had a guest with me that was sitting through the hours of chemo, just making conversation or watching a movie with me. But then you would see people always showing up alone and driving themselves there alone and leaving, going back to the house alone. I always had someone driving me in case I felt, not so well. So I'm not saying that person was miserable because nobody was there. I'm just saying some people have the financial ways, but they don't have the emotional support. Some people don't have the financial ways, but they have the emotional support. Like, everybody has something that somebody else wished they had, but everybody lacks something that somebody else does have. So it just depends on how you want to look at it.
Yeah.
Nobody's life is perfect, and that is fine. It's not supposed to be.
Yeah.
We would never grow if everything that we wanted or needed, we always had it. Because then we would never had to work for anything, or we would never have to value simple things in life.
Yeah.
I'm getting super philosophical.
This is what I miss, Gabby. Like, I think with COVID, I really miss these kind of conversations. Just have a drink and then just talk about fucking life. Mm-hmm. I miss those. I know that, I don't know if you've seen, I'm sure you have, the memes online where it would be like a picture of a lake, starry night, and it would say something like, I would prefer a night drinking with my friends on the lake than $1 million any night, or something to that effect.
Yes.
And I totally miss just having a good drink with a good friend and just talk. I miss that the most.
It's funny what adults now find entertaining, right? Because when we were kids, you would never think that sitting down and talking would be fun. It would be like, what toys am I going to play with? Like, this is boring. I used to think that about my mom and her friends. Like, they're just sitting and talking all day. How boring. But yeah. That's happens when you become an adult.
Before we move on, I wouldn't forgive myself if I didn't ask. Okay, right now, so you have your Vimeo account. You're doing videos for people to find. How can people find you if they wanted to? They need your advice, Gabby, on nutrition. They need your advice. They want you to be their instructor. How can they find you?
So it's very easy. I have a website, GabyFitness.com, and it's Gabby with one B and a Y. GabyFitness.com, and then social media is Gaby G. G is for my last name, Gutierrez. Just in case it's hard to remember, that's why you have the G. So it's Gaby G Fitness. No, Gaby G at what? Hold on.
We have been drinking.
I got confused. Gaby G Fitness. Okay.
That's not correct, by the way.
See what? You messed that up, Hector.
I messed that up.
So again, let me go rewind. Website, GabyFitness.com. Social media at Gaby G Fitness.
Okay.
And so they can send me a direct message through there. And from there, we can start a conversation. And then depending on what you need, we take it from there.
Okay.
But everything I'm doing right now is online because of COVID. And actually, it's worked great for me and for clients too, because they can work out from home. We can do Zoom sessions and they don't even have to leave their house. Very convenient.
All right. That's perfect. Just in case if the cameras die out,
Oh,
I wanted to make sure that we got that out.
Yes, and the Gaby Fitness Home Workout Series is on Vimeo. You can rent it. It's a workout routine that you can do from home per week for 12 weeks. So it's a 3-month package. And you also get access to a free nutrition guide. If you contact me, I email you the free nutrition guide, and you can have access to it for a year.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
So no excuses. COVID is not an excuse.
You hear that, you bunch of fatties?
I didn't say that. I just said it's not an excuse.
That's how I talk to myself. That's how I get myself motivated. You fat.
You know, I see some trainers that are really like mean to some clients, and it works for some people. They like that. They want a mean trainer. I can't be like that. I can't see myself being like, hey,
you fat fuck.
Yeah, I can't. See, I couldn't even say it right now as a joke. You had to say it.
I don't think I've ever heard you curse.
Bueno, pues es que, see, I remembered my parents, so the Spanish came out. If they heard me curse, even at my age, they would be so disappointed.
I have so many more things to ask you. I mean, we could end it there. We can keep going off camera. I don't know if this camera is gonna. I gotta get a fucking sponsor to get that thing to keep going.
Well,
but
take the moment right now. Tell people.
Yeah, there'll be the
sponsors.
Yeah, there's gonna be a Patreon after this thing cuts.
You know, we're gonna create a GoFundMe page for him.
There is a GoFundMe. I don't know what
it
is.
You do have one?
There's a GoFundMe and a Patreon.
Why don't you
Nobody's
take the time?
Donated fucking shit.
Because you're not telling anybody. How are they gonna know?
I
didn't even know.
I don't want to be one of those
and
guys.
I'm super rich. I could have already.
What?
Kidding. But you never know. There might be a millionaire watching right now that has nothing to do. Shit. They just want to kill time. And but they're not gonna know about your funding page.
I was gonna ask. It's super inappropriate. I can't. I don't know the name for it. I don't know if it'll be in there. Do you get questions about how do you build certain muscles?
Yes, I do.
Because how do you get those cum gutters? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Okay, the V shape in the abdomen, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
How do you get those?
Well,
what's the proper term? They're not only called cum gutters. They're called
internal obliques.
Okay.
Yes, and you can get there with a lot of twists, like the bicycle crunches. You gotta train the internal obliques of your abdomen muscles, but this is also very important. Any part of your abdomen, if you want it to show, you have to have
get the diet.
A clean diet.
Yeah.
Because
you're not going to see your abs until you get to like 12% body fat.
Is one of the easiest parts of the body where you can store fat.
Oh yeah.
I mean, for the women, it's also hip.
Yeah.
Now for
guys, it's the stomach for sure.
But abdomen for everybody. So if you're eating more than you should, or crappy food, you're going to store fat, and most of it is going to be in your belly. And the muscles are underneath the fat layers. So it doesn't matter how much you train your abdomen. You might have like a very strong abdomen, but it's never going to show if you don't get rid of that fat layer on top.
And the place that you have the most stored fat is the place that's going to take the longest to see the result. You're going to see it in your face first, then your arms. But if you have all the fat in your stomach, that's going to be the last place to go, because I'm sure another question that you get asked is you can't spot burns
reduce
fat.
only. It goes
You
back
can't
to
have one fat right arm and a skinny left
It
arm.
goes back to the issue you were talking about, the breast. That some women, they're like, oh, I want to lose weight, but I want to keep my breast size. Well,
You're gonna burn fat all over the place.
yes, but
You can't have one fat leg and one skinny
we gotta
leg.
go back to what's more important: being a certain cup size, or not having diabetes, not having cholesterol. Being at a healthy, normal weight where you can do all the activities you want to do. I think every healthy body is beautiful. If you're curvy, if you're like bigger or more petite, if you're healthy, meaning you're not risking your health, then that's great. But to want to be at a higher weight just because you want to have bigger breasts, I don't know if that's worth it at the end of the day. Well, to each his own. To each his own. I know. But for me, as a health
expert
coach, I'm like, that's not the priority right now.
Yeah.
Let's get you healthy.
Yeah.
No.
When
you're healthy, you feel so great. I think that the size of your breast is not your main worry. But then again, everybody has different priorities.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you. Okay, so when your back is acting up, like right now, it's acting up, right?
Yeah.
So do you avoid exercising until you feel it like, okay, I'm ready to exercise again, or you try to do stuff that, okay, well, I can do this. I know I won't mess it up.
I don't avoid exercise completely. I just avoid high impact exercises or heavy lifting. I walk. Although it depends how messed up my back is. Sometimes even walking hurts.
Yeah.
And that's when I'm like, oh, this is so frustrating. But stretching yoga, anybody can do, and even more when you're having an injury like me. Like, it really makes the pain less.
Yeah.
So I do yoga stretches, I do walking. And if I want to do resistance training, then I'll do body weight with no jumps, nothing high impact, or resistance bands. Yeah. Until I get better. The thing is that as soon as I feel better, I start jogging again and jumping, and then I regress all the progress I did, because I need more time to heal, and you gotta be so patient, and that's what's hard. So it usually takes me like 3 months after a flare up like this to go back to normal.
3 months?
Yeah.
I believe it, because yesterday, after the shots that we got, you look freaking beautiful, by the way.
Well, thank you. I look, I am also being very honest when I say this. If I take pictures of myself with my phone, they don't come out like that. I mean, you also have to take some credit.
Take a little.
Or at least you can say, well, I bought a very expensive camera. And,
Well, after we did the photo shoot and we got those yesterday, I could feel my back will give me the warning where it feels like it's tightening up. And I know that if I bend the wrong way any minute now, because I could feel my lower back tighten up.
Yeah.
So I try to be more careful about exercising when I'm in that stage where
I really think that most of the injuries we have, because not just people that work out, but also sedentary people have a lot of issues, because just being in the same position also puts a lot of strain on your body. I think the main problem and the easiest way to fix it is stretching. Lack of stretching, or at the end of the workout, it just makes you more prone to injuries. And it's just easier to just stretch every day instead of ending up at a doctor's office. Yeah. But most people don't want to take the time to stretch because they think it's boring.
No,
but
you need it.
It's super, yeah. I know when my back starts acting up, I haven't been stretching. I've been lazy about it. Yeah. I'm not lazy about working out, but stretching, sometimes I'm lazy about it because it feels like, whatever, But no, it's super important.
Yeah, super important.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk to you about, okay, so like the back injury and also how you got it. Huh? Because the way that you got it, because we didn't even get to how you did the competition. Did you just do it that one time?
Which one? The bikini?
Which one?
No, it's because I did a full marathon, but it wasn't really a competition. You're talking about the bikini fitness?
Yeah.
Bikini bodybuilding?
Like when you were on stage and you had the bronzer. And have you done, it was just that one time?
That's been the first and the last time so far.
Yeah.
I want to do another one to celebrate my 40th year.
When's your birthday?
August. Next August, I'm gonna be 40. It would be really cool to do it for my 40th. But
was that here or did you go somewhere?
It was San Antonio.
Okay. Yeah, because we didn't even get into that and just the prep that goes into if you were even thinking about. I can't even imagine what it is for a vegan to.
It was not difficult.
Is it easier? Is it harder?
The reason why I chose my coach, and I can give her a shout out, is Candace Fox. I chose her because even though I'm a trainer, bodybuilding, like prepping for a bodybuilding competition is another ball game. And I wanted someone with the experience that not only knew about posing, and I wouldn't even know how to tan myself, honestly, or how to do my makeup for that. And she knew all that, and she is also a judge of body fitness competitions. So I knew she would know how to guide me into this industry. And it's because I told her, well, I'm vegan. And she was like, that's fine. And that's what I wanted, a coach that wasn't going to be like, well, you have to eat meat if you want to, because I don't believe in that. You don't have to eat meat to create, to build muscle. And so it wasn't that much different, I think, from any other person that is not vegan. At the end of the day, you still have to be in a certain calorie quota and macro distribution for the goal, but you can get that from plants as well as from animal products. Like you can get protein also from plants and carbs and healthy fats. Training and being on a calorie restriction was not difficult for me at all. I actually enjoyed it because it made me like focus on a goal, and it's always fun to have a challenge. It was just the day before the competition and the day off that was so tiring. That part was exhausting. That was the part that made me think, I don't know if I want to do this again. Because, being with all that paint is so uncomfortable. It's like you're dripping everywhere you go.
Ew.
Yes. And then you have to use a lot of makeup to match the tan. So, I mean, yes, if you would see me as like up close, I would look like a clown. But on stage, you wouldn't even tell the difference because there's so much lights on you and people are so far away that they can't tell that you have all this much makeup, but you feel it. I felt like I had a mask on with a whole like bodysuit costume. It was just, a little bit uncomfortable, and you're in this tiny bikini backstage waiting for hours until it's your turn. You're tired. You didn't sleep the day before because you were nervous. And that feels like long. But then, it's just 2 days. It's not the end of the world.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.